I want to show you guys something funny. I had a pretty banger tweet today where I said, failed former gamer at Hutchinson. So this is a bald guy who is what I'm calling a pendulum liberal, in the term that I'm trying to make a real term that I'm trying to coin. A pendulum liberal is a liberal that thinks Donald Trump winning the 2024 election is just part of the natural cycle, and it's a pendulum of politics swinging back and forth from the left to the right. So Joe Biden won in 2020. Trump's going to win in 2024. Then there's going to be a Democrat that wins. Then there's going to be a Republican that wins. And everything's going to keep being the same, and we're just going to truck along perfectly fine. So why are people freaking out about this presidency, right? It's just part of the natural cycle of things. Hutch is a pendulum liberal. He doesn't actually care about anything that's going on. So if you take a look at what Hutch has actually been posting on Twitter and talking about on his streams, like, we can take a look at this. Love that he's owning this. Awesome. So he says, so what's this? You're paid by Destiny's Progressive Victory PAC to do Zionist propaganda and defense of predators. And he says, just to give you a sense of how stupid that crowd is, I'm getting multiple replies a day accusing me of being secretly paid by Destiny to do Israeli propaganda. So talking about how he's not doing Israeli propaganda. Okay, so here he's actually talking about Gavin Newsom, like that. I like that he's talking about the redistricting. Here he's talking about DNC, basically defending Democrats. Here he's like criticizing Hassan. Here he's saying that, oh, if you criticize the DNC, your brain is broken. Here he's like, oh, if Cuomo would have won the primary, no one would have cared that Cory Booker didn't endorse him. So attacking leftists. I don't think the DNC has ever endorsed a mayoral candidate. Attacking leftists. People are treating endorsements, attacking leftists. Bro, just stop specifically referencing here, attacking leftists, attacking Hassan. I happily with using hallucinogens. Oh, gamer, right? This is gaming coming up. No cheating, don't look it up. If you guys had to guess what Mamdani's public approval ratings are nationally and in the state of New York, where do you think he lands? Criticizing Mamdani. Look, you scroll down this guy's Twitter feed. He has one post that's promoting Gavin Newsom. And don't get me wrong, what Gavin Newsom is doing in California, where he's pushing for the redistricting of California to counter the gerrymandering that Texas is doing, that's great. I love that he's doing that. I don't love Gavin Newsom as a presidential candidate. I don't love him as a governor of California, but I do love him doing that. And so I'm totally in favor of promoting the story of Gavin Newsom redistricting and gerrymandering California. But when the other 90% of your tweets in the last 3-4 days has been criticizing leftists, and that's gone on a long time, dude, you've lost the plot. You're not actually an asset in supporting the Democrats. Once again, this is what Destiny does, where he says he's pro-Democrat, but in effect, what he is anti-leftist. That's the same with Hutch. He's like, I'm a liberal. What does he say? I'm a bald liberal. Aggressive liberalism. But my aggressive liberalism is only aggressive against the left. Where are the tweets of criticizing Donald Trump and anything? So anyway, this is a lane that he's found himself in, right? So he put out an amazing tweet the other day, and what was it? Oh yeah. So this is my favorite argument, right? Ethan Klein comes on his show and he's like, bigotry of low expectations. You think Rashid al-Haddad is just a drone? He's a mindless drone and he has no agency. And so he goes into, he's born in Yemen, and just because he's in Yemen doesn't mean that he can't not be a terrorist, right? He calls Rashid al-Haddad a terrorist. And so he's like, it's a bigotry of low expectations if you think that, of course, he's going to be a terrorist, or of course he's going to join the Houthis, or if someone's living in Gaza, of course they're going to join Hamas or hate Israel, right? That's what he does. He's like, that's bigotry of low expectations. People have agency. They should be able to snap out of it. But then when it comes to Hila Clyde, he's like, Hila was just a small bean teenager that was forced into mandatory service. And she Sure, she volunteered to go out and do an illegal raid in Ramallah and witness a kidnapping of a Palestinian man in the West Bank. Actually, not only witness a kidnapping, but like get out of the vehicle and participate in the kidnapping of him. But she's just a small bean. It's actually like expecting too much of her to not have been a terrorist, to not have joined a fascist army because she was just like a teenager, right? No, anyway, here we go from Hutch. So what does he say? These people are inserting their American 2025 brains, not the best point of America if you're going to talk about like the peak of liberal values. Support for gay marriage has been declining. We know that like racism and anti-Semitism is spiking. We know that Islamophobia is spiking underneath this new regime. And, like anti-immigration sentiment has been whipped up into a frenzy by the right-wing media system. So not the best year to actually try to say that American 2025 brains are the epitome of liberal values. In fact, you're literally getting like detained, shut down, fired, and doxxed if you speak out against Israel if you're in America in 2025. So not the best example if you're going to say that it's an easy decision to criticize Israel in 2025, if that's what he's trying to say. So he's saying, and these people are inserting their American 2025 brains in 2005 Gila Klein's body. Weird way of putting it, but sure, invoking the image of Gila Klein's body, and then boldly claiming that they would have refused IDF service. They have no idea what their worldview would have looked like being raised and educated in Israel at that time. None. Zip. Okay, that's true. So he's saying Gila Klein was brainwashed by Israel. Has she ever said she regrets joining the IDF? Like, look, she's a teenager. People sign up for war. They're soldiers. Usually, when we criticize the actions of a country, we're not really criticizing soldiers first and foremost. We're criticizing the politicians that sent them into war. We're criticizing the corporations that benefit off of the war. We're criticizing like their parents that are racist, that send their kids to war, do crimes against the people that they don't like. Like, soldiers are not really high up on the totem pole of being criticized. That being said, if a soldier comes into your country and is trying to shoot you and kill you, they are valid military targets. Like, that's literally just like a tautology. If you're in the military, if you're in the enemy military, you're a valid military target. That's the rules of war. So are we criticizing Gila Klein for joining the war? Not really, but that doesn't preclude her from being a valid military target if she's in Ramallah doing an illegal raid in the West Bank. And also, is it the biggest issue in the world if a teenager in Israel signs up for the IDF? No, it's not the biggest deal in the world. There are bigger fish to fry than that. But can that teenager still be criticized for being blindly racist due to the brainwashing they received? Yeah, they can. Like, people owned slaves in the past. People in the past, they practiced in the past. Just because it's a accepted part of society doesn't mean that they shouldn't be criticized for doing that. Like, yeah, I think it's still valid to criticize people for doing that. People want to practice. In our society today, it's more acceptable to be racist and homophobic and misogynist than it is to not be those things. Like, if you speak out against that, you're criticized as woke. You literally have fascist thugs going throughout liberal cities and just like beating the shit out of people. And then when they get criticized or protested, they're like, nah, like liberalism is dead. Yeah, well, conservatives are good. White supremacy groups like the Proud Boys, they're good. Like, what do you call it when the government is sending fascist thugs that support white supremacy into liberal cities to just like inflict terror upon them? I would say that that's a paradigm shift in favor of fascism and white supremacy, making it more acceptable to be fascist and white supremacist. Like, did you see the response from the right-wingers or the right-wing pundits when the Sydney Sweeney ad came out? Megyn Kelly is on her show with her like shaved off nose being, oh yeah, it's good to be white again. We should be proud to be white again. You have the Fox News people being like, I don't think that she's saying it's good to be white per se. It's just like it's good to be like an attractive woman again, and this is what I'm defining as an attractive woman. Like we literally have the most successful media ecosystem, the most powerful media ecosystem in the world upholding white supremacy. And we're trying to be like, oh yeah, that's not we're in the epitome of liberal values as an American in 2025. Off, dude. So then he says this. It's the smuggest, most ridiculous form of self-aggrandizement to just assume you would have made a different choice. Like, he does realize that people in Israel have refused military service before, right? He does realize that people in the American South were not in favor of owning slaves in like the 1830s and 1820s. He does realize that like these systems changed because people wanted the systems to change, because there were people that looked around themselves with clear eyes and are like, let's not 13-year-old girls and take them as wives. Let's not own slaves. Let's not try to just kill all of the Jews outright in Nazi Germany. Like, can we actually change some of these systems? Like, let's push back against these systems. And this is what I'm talking about when I say he's a pendulum liberal. Hutch thinks the system always self-corrects. It's an auto-correcting system. And if you are actually like pushing against the grain in that system, you're the problem, no matter what side you're pushing the grain to conform to. If you're saying that we need to like end slavery, that would be a bad thing in Hutch's eyes. You just have to go with the flow. You have to always just get in line with authority and the institutions of the current day. If you believe in Hutch's worldview, this man would, if he lived in the American South in the 1830s, he'd be in favor of slavery. Because if he's not, he's like, oh yeah, like it's the smuggest, most ridiculous form of self-aggrandizement to just assume you wouldn't be pro-slavery if you lived in the American South in the 1830s. Like, at some point, you got to get rid of the liberal bullshit and the liberal inclination to suck up to the status quo and the institutions of the time and look at the sheer amount of violence that institution is causing to be perpetuated. Like, you look at American slavery in the 1830s, it's a disgustingly violent institution that was set up in this country. Like, whippings on a daily basis, forced separations of family members, white people killing their slaves just because they like looked at them wrong. The worst of the worst, completely depraved. And so, yeah, I think you can criticize people for being like, for taking part in a completely depraved system, regardless of whether it was the norm to do. It's still a disgusting thing. And like, why do you think he's doing this? It's because he doesn't want to actually criticize Israel. It's because he doesn't want to actually criticize the American foreign policy in 2025. If he's saying that, oh yeah, you can't criticize Hila because she just did what was popular in 2005 Israel, then how could you also criticize Hutch if he's just doing what's popular in 2025 America, which is the descent in fascism, attacking leftists, attacking pro-Palestinian advocates? Like, that's what he's doing, and he's a bootlicker because of it. He is licking the boot of institutions that are anti-Palestine, that are anti-populist leftist change, and like, he's found his role here. So anyway, this was so funny, and this morning I threw out a tweet. I'm not a big user of Twitter, but I threw this out here. Failed former gamer Hutchinson. And the reason that I said that is because you guys before were like, Hutch used to be a gamer and then he started doing politics. I don't know if he failed or not. I just thought that was funny. Failed former gamer Hutchinson bravely claims it is the epitome of arrogance and self-aggrandizement to say you would not have been in the 1940s Germany or have owned slaves in 1830s America. And then I said what I've been ranting about for the last few minutes, and I say, kind of makes you wonder why Hutchinson spends all of his time attacking the left, and at the same time this country is rapidly descending into fascism. But then he actually responded to me, which I thought was so funny. So He says, wait, the country is descending into fascism, yet your entire feed is jabs at Ethan Klein. Get your priorities in line. Which, like, I mean, okay, first of all, hypocrisy is, so he's accusing me of being a hypocrite, right? Say it with me, everyone. Hypocrisy is the lowest form of political commentary, being like, and he's a hypocrite. Okay, who gives a f? Is what he's saying right or wrong? Like, get that in line. Secondly, is he saying that the country is not descending into fascism? If so, then you can criticize that. But he's like, okay, the country is descending into fascism, but you're not talking about it. Your priorities aren't good. It's like my Twitter that I don't post at all. I've posted like 2 times in the last month and a half. Okay. So he's like, your priorities aren't right, but the country's descending into fascism. Why aren't you talking about it? It's like, dude, you're not doing that either. So if you're going to criticize me for that, then it goes back against you. So anyway, I thought this was just so funny. It's like, dude, you're not actually like addressing anything I'm saying. And he's just like, he can't even get out of the snarky, none of this shit matters. The institutions are going to self-right themselves. Maybe I should like change it from a pendulum liberal to like a Titanic liberal, like a blind faith in the fail-safes of the institution as an iceberg is just shredding every single bulwark of the unsinkable ship that is supposed to be America, like American democracy. Like, dude, you are posting this to a reply. How many followers do I have on this? How many followers do I have? I have 273 followers. I'm not verified. Who gives a f about this account? I'm literally just doing this to make fun of you. Like, but I'm actually getting views. You got 170 views on your response to me. Like, what are you doing, dude? Your followers don't give a f. Like, you can't even get out of your snarky mindset of your nothing matters bullshit to not respond to me. Like, you're just like so involved in this internet back and forth that you're getting down into my reply to my original tweet. Like, you're replying to my own reply to the tweet. Anyway, I just think that he's kind of a joke if we're talking about politics. Did he talk to me? Oh yeah, and then let's see what else he says. So he says, literally, yes, to not take this position, you would need to believe that certain groups or ethnicities are inherently more evil and violent than others. And that seems like a wild contradiction for a self-avowed leftist, lol. Okay, so I said, it is the epitome of arrogance and self-aggrandizement to say you would not have been a Nazi in 1940s Germany or have owned slaves in 1830s America. He says, literally, yes, to not take this position, okay, so to not take the position, so to basically take the position that I said, you would need to believe that certain groups or ethnicities are inherently more evil and violent than others. You would have to be racist to not be racist. You'd have to be racist to think that you wouldn't be racist in 1940s Germany. So you'd have to be racist to think that you would not be a racist Nazi in not 1940s Germany. Did I get that right? You need to help me out with this. If someone can decipher Hutch, is he responding to me? You have zero clue how you would have reacted to the rise of in Germany, and that's one of the things that makes that event so horrifying. Regular people were radicalized by their conditions to the point where they committed atrocities there. And he said, dude, we are literally witnessing a rise of atrocities occurring in America right now, and you can watch me respond to it. We're seeing people respond to it right now, dude. You have a minority group being scapegoated in Latino immigrants, and then a fascist dictator coming into power in America, scapegoating them. He literally has like an ideologue running things in Stephen Miller. He turned ICE into a military. Like, they have more funding than the fucking IDF does. And he's unleashing them on cities to basically just like deport people, beat the shit out of people. Who cares if they're criminals or not? We're not doing due process to them. What the fuck would you call this? He built a concentration camp. He sent them to Secot in El Salvador, and he built Alligator Auschwitz in Florida to just like send people to die so the press wouldn't come there. We literally have concentration camps and we're scapegoating a minority group. Oh my god, dude. Liberals are this fucking like brain dead shit lib is killing me. How is his brain rot so contagious? He's like making me short circuit. Dude. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this idiocy. Don't choose the rise in Germany when it's a direct parallel to what's happening now. Like the way that Hitler took power, where he's a psychotic narcissist scapegoating a minority group and then using basically like his own paramilitary group to do terrorism in the country, which is then he's going to use to further consolidate his power when that's happening right now, dude. Oh my God. Is Hutch just like huffing the same shit that Ethan Klein is inhaling? Like, dude, how the fuck are you doubling down on this? Like you got wrecked by me and you're doubling down on this, and your response to this tweet is you would have to be racist to think that you wouldn't be a racist in the American antebellum South. Like, what the f are you talking about? Dude, oh my God. I'm so done with, like, this guy's just a moron. Did he talk about anything else? What did he say here? Like, it doesn't matter. Literally, yes. Oh yeah, what is he saying here? You're saying you would fall for it, but which doesn't reflect the majority of leftists at the time who were studied on such issues, much like we are today. The idea that you can't know whether you'd be in is a weird form of propaganda morons use to excuse their takes. Leftists in China during the Cultural Revolution beat, tortured, imprisoned, and murdered millions of people. Can you tell me confidently you would not have committed such violence? Yeah. Anyway, who gives a fuck about this guy? Let's be done with him. So stupid. Guys, I am never going to do ad reads on here. No advertisers. Not going to be sponsored by dick pills or whatever. If you want to support my work, encourage me to live stream more, please consider joining the channel. You'll get access to early content. You'll get members only content, and your name will be in green. That's so good.